You know, you can't spell the emotion engine without motion. Hey, it's Game Rant, and here are the 10 best PS2 racing games ranked. Number 10, Jak X Combat Racing. Let's start off this list with something few, if any, other racing games can say, PS2 or not. Jak X isn't simply a spin-off of the popular Jak and Daxter series, it's canonically the fourth entry, continuing the story where Jak 3 left off, and most surprisingly, gives the gruff protagonist a real sense of community and closure by the end. The racing itself is the big boy version of Naughty Dog's previous effort, Crash Team Racing. People often overlook Jak X because it appears inessential, but if you skipped it, do a quick U-turn and experience the surprisingly full-featured single-player story. Number 9, Splashdown. Yet another often overlooked PS2 racer, Splashdown was seen as a Wave Race wannabe as it released awfully close, only 2 weeks apart in North America, from the launch of the Nintendo GameCube and, you guessed it, Wave Race Blue Storm. Yes, both games are jet ski racers, but for the most part their stylistic choices made their differences quickly apparent. For instance, Wave Race had a completely original soundtrack created by composers and sound engineers, while Splashdown booted with a screen full of artists like Blink-182, Smash Mouth, and Sum 41. Rock on! Now how's about anybody make more jet ski racing games already? Smash Mouth optional. Number 8, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. It's sad to say, but the black hole in Rockstar Games, known as the Grand Theft Auto series, has completely absorbed Midnight Club Racing into its online mode, as opposed to its own unique game. And while GTA Online is certainly fun, the Midnight Club series had a vibe and a tone all to its own. Part 3 pulled the series into a much more traditional racing game feel, with hard turns and narrow roads, but it still kept all the bonkers modes like Capture the Flag and Tag. It seems these changes were made to make the game more competitive for online mode, a still major addition to a game at that time, and seeing where Rockstar is today, probably a good investment. Number 7, Midnight Club 2. See, this is probably where you're wondering how we could put 2 Midnight Club games on the same list. Well, the truth is, they play nothing alike. That's right, before the days where developers hunkered down to deliver the next season of an ongoing online game, they used to just make completely different sequels. Midnight Club 3 refined the controls to make the game more proper. Midnight Club 2, on the other hand, just doesn't care. No, really, while playing this game, it's easy to resolve any turn or jump with just the simplest nudge of the analog stick. Realistic? Not at all. Never ever. Fair or competitive? Nope. But it's so ridiculous, including all of its additional objective-based multiplayer modes, it's impossible to put it down. Bring it back, Rockstar, we're begging. Number 6, NASCAR Thunder 2002. Yes, get your turning left jokes out of the way, because even if you've never enjoyed an afternoon at Talladega, you'll likely be enthralled with this aggressive early PS2 racer. Sure, NASCAR is known for its physical style of bumping and nudging, and that's all present here. But in 2001, any racer focusing on drafting and slipstreaming stood out. And given how popular this mechanic now is in nearly every single racing game, including, Mario Kart, Thunder 2002 deserves some of the initial credit. And yes, there are more tracks that aren't oval-shaped if you really want to be a snob about it. Jeez. Number 5, Need for Speed Underground. From one EA racer to another, the Need for Speed Underground sub-series had such an impact on this long-running franchise that's never been quite the same ever since. Rather than keeping the cars in their perfect state, Underground embraced the over-the-top customization options as seen in films like the first Fast and the Furious, and the DIY aesthetic, such as having physical people give the go signal. Underground had a much more demanding sense of tension and turning than others on this list, but it was its PS2 of era style that cemented its place. Now crank up that Static X. Number 4, Colin McRae Rally 3. So far on this list, we've talked a lot about turning, as curves are the natural enemy of racers. Colin McRae Rally 3 takes this to the extreme, with players being briefly warned on the next distance before having to perform the proper angle. Yeah, it sounds simple enough, but with a properly tuned rally car, you'll be turning slicker than butter in ice skates. Carefully letting the momentum do the work without flying off course is a uniquely tense experience that still works surprisingly well to this day. If you've been intimidated by the dull-sounding name Colin, give it another look, as this game is as arcadey as Rally gets. Number 3, Burnout Revenge. Following the breakout success of Burnout 3 Takedown, the team at Criterion were tasked with a follow-up, and the results feel much more like an addition to Burnout 3 than its own game. But that's hardly a problem. Burnout's insane over-the-top reckless racing was given another wrinkle with the revenge system, giving much more personality to the cars you take down and those who dare knock you off the road, as well as cranking up the sociopathy with a mode where you attack normal traffic for gold medals. This game feels like a pop-punk psyop, so, we like it. Number 2, Burnout 3 Takedown. If there's anything wrong with Burnout Revenge, it's the pacing. The World Tour mode is perfect if you've stepped right off of Burnout 3, but for new players, it'll feel rather scatterbrained. Burnout 3, on the other hand, is top-tier perfection of the Criterion series, finally mastering its chaotic drifting and crash mechanics to create one of the most evocative racing games of all time. It's actually rather strange in hindsight that Burnout's peak really only existed for one game back on the PlayStation 2, but it's true. From the crash mode where players total up points by causing pileups to the blistering racing, heck, we might go so far as to say it's the best 3D arcade racer of all time. Yeah, we said it. Number 1, Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Before The Last of Us or God of War, before the PlayStation brand became far more prestigious in its output, there was the Gran Turismo series. A brilliant merger of technology, artistry, and passion for car culture, Gran Turismo 3 gave a masterclass on the potential of simulation racing games. Each class of car perfectly articulates the difference in vehicles, simply by how they control. This is the sort of game that will make you realize how bulky street-legal cars are with their numerous safety features, and just how brittle an A-class car can be. Again, simply by how they control. Gran Turismo engages players on the most tactile levels and teaches them to appreciate the history of the automotive world. It's been almost 25 years, and Gran Turismo 3 still feels cutting edge. And there you have it. Those are the best PS2 racing games ranked. Ready to skip out on town, Leadfoot? Well, how about keep clicking around here on Game Rant? And we'll see you next time.